You can be grinding away today, but if you choose the wrong partner, all that hard work will go to shit. Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks so much for joining in for another episode here on my new channel. I am super excited for today's episode simply because this topic is actually so dear to my heart, because I've just seen so many girls go wrong by making this one bad decision over the years that ends up costing them everything. We all know the story too well. If we think back to high school, most of the top performers were actually females. But as we tend to start a family and settle down, we start to pull back. And whilst this is an active choice for many, it is a subconscious one for just as many. In fact, I found that I had started going through the same experience in my very early days of starting my career, where I felt that I was pulling back. And if it wasn't for my partner, who is now my husband, I could have very easily have stayed in that place and found myself lacking ambition and motivation as the years continued. And so this is why choosing the right partner is super important for your success. In today's video, I will explain why this is the case and what to look out for. So if you are a young, ambitious career woman and you would also like to settle down and have a family, or perhaps you're already in a serious relationship yourself, then this video is super important for you. Now, before we get into it, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, then why don't you? Because I'll be posting a lot more interactive content on my social media platform, and it will allow us to engage on a more frequent basis compared to my YouTube channel, where of course I post videos every 2 weeks. So as I had mentioned on Instagram a few weeks ago, this is February, and so it is the month of love, and for that reason I will be focusing on this theme for this month. But of course I will be looking at the theme of love and relationships from the perspective of being a career woman and what that really means for us. And this video is the first part of this theme and this installment for this month. So the first question that we want to ask is he truly confident? And the reason being is that if your partner is not truly confident, they will feel insecure and feel intimidated by your confidence, and over time will unintentionally start to pull you down to their level. Now, I know we all have insecurities, and often the younger we are, the more insecure we feel, but you can grow into it if you are committed to becoming a more confident individual. So if your partner is not aware of the fact that they are not confident, and if they're not committed to becoming a more confident and better individual, it's going to be really hard to help them to grow into this confident person that will not feel intimidated by your success over time. And not only that, isn't confidence so sexy? At least I find confidence is super sexy. So moving on to the second question, and this one is a little bit more difficult to answer, where I think the first one is a bit more of an obvious question to ask. But the second one is, what is his source of confidence? And the reason why this is important is because historically, men had it ingrained in them that they need to be the providers for their families. This is actually still the case today, and whilst many men have become modernized over the years to the fact that they don't need to be the sole provider in a household because life is just way too expensive, they may still feel that they need to be the breadwinners in the house at the end of the day. So you need to ask yourself, is he going to feel threatened by the fact that you may potentially earn more than him one day? Will he feel emasculated if that is the case? Or does he feel threatened by the fact that you earn enough to be financially independent? And it's an important one, because a lot of men would take comfort in the fact that, oh, you'll probably never ever leave them because you are dependent on them financially. But if you are able to provide a good life for yourself through your own means, then they may feel really insecure and threatened by this. This is something that won't necessarily manifest in your relationship in the beginning phases, but it is something that can start to show up later in your relationship. The next question you want to ask is, what role does he see you playing in your family and in the household in the future? So, as I had mentioned previously, life is so expensive nowadays that in most cases men would not expect you to sit at home and be a housewife, or when the kids come into the picture, expect you to quit your job, sit at home, look after the kids, and run the household. But at the same time, what does that mean for how you divide the responsibility within the house when it comes to chores and when it comes to taking care of the kids? Does he expect you to do all of that stuff that a stay-at-home mom would do on top of having your job and having your career and pushing on that? Because I can tell you now, it's not sustainable. And not only is it not sustainable, you inevitably are going to end up taking a step back at work. Otherwise, you will find yourself heading towards burnout. And another question, which was actually not as obvious to me initially, is asking the question of, yes, he may be willing to split the chores with you in the household, but is he willing to share that mental load? And it's a super important one, because you may be sharing the responsibilities of preparing the food, of cleaning the house, etc. Who is the one that notices when your kids are sick, or notices if your pets are sick, and then makes a plan to take them to the doctor, or to the vet in this case? So there's all these small things on a daily basis that requires mental energy from you. And it's something as small as, hey, we've run out of honey. We need to get honey on our next trip to the grocery store. It's small things like that that accumulate and use your mental energy. So you're not actually able to just focus on a very stressful project that you're currently working on. And not that you want to solely focus on that, but of course, that is where we need to be more open to sharing the mental load with our partner. Otherwise, what happens is that they are focusing on their jobs and their careers 80% of the time and are happy to execute the chores, but you are still the one that is carrying that full mental load. So you are only able to devote 50% of your energy to work, and 50% of your energy goes towards the household and running the family. And then the last question, which is probably the most important question, is, does he genuinely support your ambitions? Will he help you to grow? Will he push you to be the best version of yourself when he sees that you are pulling back? Or are you there to actually just support his ambitions? Not only will he be more willing to have that conversation with you that I brought up in point 3, but he will be more willing to hear your point of view and see how he can also support you in achieving your dreams and your ambitions, if he genuinely does support and believe in you rather than believe you. Now, I don't mean to add more points to your checklist to finding the perfect partner, because we all know that the perfect partner does not exist. However, I would really encourage you to have an open conversation with your partners and discuss these points openly with them and see how they react to it, and whether they are willing to talk through it and at least consider your point of view. Because we need to remember that whilst men have become more open-minded and have modernized over the years, they may not have necessarily have had an example of a mom or close family members who worked in corporate, or at least of a household where both parents shared responsibilities in the house quite equally. So if that's what they've been exposed to and grown up with, then that is all that they know. And it is up to us to open their minds to the fact that that system won't necessarily work for you if you are going to be a woman that continues to pursue your career and your ambitions. If they are completely closed off to it, then the chances of you being able to make your relationship work whilst becoming the most successful version of yourself is going to be incredibly difficult to do. Alright, so that is it from me today. I hope that this was helpful and that you walk away from this video feeling like you learned something new today. Otherwise, do keep a lookout for my next video where I thought we could make it a little bit more personal and do a Q&A with myself and my husband Justin. So I will be running a Q&A poll on my Instagram channel in the coming weeks to collect your questions, or you can feel free to pop them down in the comments down below or send me a DM. That's also possible. Hey, and if you did enjoy this video, then I'd like to ask you to please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up. Again, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, it really does help YouTube to push this content out to other girls like yourself who may benefit from this message. I wish you guys a fabulous week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!